welcome you in. Today's new drug, well, I guess it's one off the board. Frangie Carlyon, La Selva. Let me show you how show prep works, Carlyon.
Mm-hmm.
I got all these things.
Yeah.
Yesterday's games.
Quite a list. Yeah.
Quite a list. Yesterday's darn good ball games.
Yeah, you've been working.
National Football League games is what those were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if you knew that or not. So I got games. I've got Gator basketball. Did you hear they played?
I did. Big win.
They played well. I got some JUUNF basketball here, and I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. Let me be clear about this. I told you this before you got on the air. I hope you took this seriously. I'm not letting all this Ben Johnson stuff ruin the Harrison Bailey news. Okay. Florida got a backup quarterback who's never been any good anywhere. I hope you know that now. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting stuff.
And with Florida's luck, he'll probably have to start by week 3.
13 of 41 against Tennessee. Is that? I guess, of course, I guess Tennessee's late in the year. So, but anyway, you get it. So anyway, I got all this stuff. So I think it was. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it was inconsiderate of the Bears and Ben Johnson to do this at 10 till 4.
Yeah.
I'm just in. I'm in there talking to people. We're planning. We're talking about what the next step is. I think inconsiderate is the word I'm going with. I'm going. You know what? I'm going to stand by it.
Yeah.
10 till 4, Ben Johnson is now the coach of the Chicago Bears. So of the 10 people, it was 10, not 12. Of the 10 people the Jaguars interviewed, 9 are left. And we'll get to the game.
Yeah,
are you surprised?
I am surprised. I mean, just a bombshell. It's just so disappointing because, we want to cover a good team. We want the city to have a good team. And it's just so clear from the last 2 weeks that that's not going to ever happen here. Like, they may have a year here and there where things fall into place and they have some success. But the way that Shad Khan runs his football team and this devotion to Trent Baalke has cost him. Now, we'll see if, look, in 3 years, maybe Ben Johnson will be the first guy fired in this search, and whoever the Jaguars hire will end up being great. But the odds tell you that's probably not going to happen, that this will be a day that you look back on in a couple of years and you're like, how did this happen? Because I do believe the Jaguars had the most attractive destination. The Bears certainly have a lot to like on their roster, but it just feels like a complete missed opportunity because Shad Khan didn't want to fire a bad general manager that has a horrible reputation around the league.
So I'll weigh in on all this. First of all, I'll say this. I told you this 3 weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago, that these narratives develop. The narrative that developed was that Doug and Trent were going to both be out. That was the narrative. Well, Doug was fired, Trent wasn't. Then the other narrative is that Ben Johnson was the next coming of Lombardi, Walsh, Knoll, kind of all rolled into one, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the Jags were going to go get him now, and he was going to make Trevor really good, and that was going to happen. And it was Ben Johnson or bust. And I told you, we had this talk. I'm serious about this. We joked about this, that Jaguar fans are so caught up in the vision of Ben Johnson, who's never been head coach in his life. But they've been so caught up in the vision that what if it's not Ben Johnson? What if he takes another job? And I even asked you that, and you said, gosh, I don't know. I'm kind of locked in on Ben Johnson. I think that's the narrative. That was the danger of the narrative. The reality is, I'll give you a couple realities. Number one, if he took the job today, this had to have been in the works. I don't think he went to bed last night. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't think Ben Johnson went to bed last night not knowing who he was going to coach next year, and before dinner time signed a deal worth, I'm guessing, $30-40 million. It just seemed, and again, I don't know, but that would seem awfully fast if it wasn't in the works. And again, I don't know that, but it would just, I don't think he's interviewed anywhere in person. He couldn't have, right? By league rule, he couldn't interview in person until they lost, and they just lost. So it seemed all the talk about here and there and Vegas and there, and it seems to me, and again, it'll all come out, by the way, I would imagine. But I would think at some point, if he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears at 3 o'clock Central Time on Sunday, which is literally 2 days after his team that everybody thought was going to be in the NFC Championship game, it had to be in the works. It just seems it seems to me, and again, I don't know that. It just seems that way.
I mean, I could see him basically telling his agent, "Look, I don't want this to drag out. I've done interviews. I don't really have a major interest in another week's worth of traveling to 3 different cities. Just let them know I want to make this decision. Send us your best offer and what we've asked for. Are you going to grant that?" And
could be,
and I would think between the Bears, Raiders, and Jags, the Bears obviously met every demand. The Raiders probably did their best, and the Jaguars did nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that the Raiders did their best and the Jaguars did nothing. We don't know what the other two did. The reality is we don't know what the other two did. What we do know is the Bears were willing to hire him without a one-on-one interview. That's what we do know. And maybe all 3 would have been, for all we know. But it just seems to me it happened really fast. To me, it seemed like it happened really fast. I don't think we know what all the others did or didn't do. But so Ben Johnson is off the board. And so it now goes to who's on the Jaguar list, who are the best candidates for the Jags, when do they make the decision, and how quickly does it happen? I will say this. I didn't think anyone was getting hired today. Did you think anybody that any of the guys were getting hired by any of the teams today?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think any of them were getting hired today. I almost assumed that the in-person interview was the accepted protocol. Maybe not rule, but I just assumed that the in-person interview was accepted protocol. That's why, and again, unless, by the way, unless Ben Johnson flew to Chicago last night, I guess he could have. He's in Detroit, which is right next door. I guess it's conceivable he could have popped over to Detroit, had a one-person interview, had flown over to Chicago, had an in-person interview with Ryan Poles and the McCaskies Sunday night, had breakfast this morning, and they made him the offer. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll say this. We'll, like you said, we'll see. We're still talking about a bunch of guys, for the most part, who have never been head coaches. In this list, in today's 10, 12 guys, there's a couple of guys that have been head coaches before, Mike Vrabel among them, but for the most part, it's a bunch of guys that haven't been head coaches before. So we'll see how they wind up doing. So certainly Ben Johnson off the board. He goes to the Chicago Bears, according to Adam Schefter. We'll go through the list of who the Jags might or may not hire. I've said all along, I said this last week, I thought it would be Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen. I believe that. So I guess, unless I'm going to wander off, I guess I now got to predict it's Liam Cohen.
I think it'd be shocking if it wasn't Liam Cohen because no one else wants him.
Yeah.
So of course he'll be the Jaguars coach. I mean, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to. Well, but it's just frustrating. I've covered this team since 2013, and so many people have been fans of this team their whole lives.
Yeah, but we don't know. Hays, maybe Ben Johnson really is great, but we don't know. I mean, the reality is, even if the Jags had hired him, we don't know. He's never done it. I mean, that's reality. Nor has Liam Cohen ever done it. We don't know. Nor has Joe Brady ever done it. They may all be great. Some of them, the reality is we don't know. That's and nobody knows. So I'm surprised. We'll go through. But again, back to the Liam Cohen point. From my point, I really believe to be one of those two. So unless there's new information, and this is, I don't have insight that they're about to hire Liam Cohen. I just believed all along it would be one of those two guys. The third guy for me was Aaron Glenn. That was the third guy that I assumed would be in place. So we'll see if it's one of those guys who winds up being one of those guys. We'll talk about the candidates. We'll also talk about the games yesterday. We'll talk about where the NFL is headed. I got a lot of thoughts about the games. They were fantastic games. I will tell you, I hate it for Mark Andrews. I think he's a good player. I mean, I think now you got to catch it. You got to catch the ball. But I hated it. I hated it for Mark Andrews. I really did. So, but gosh, what a game! What a freaking game! That's one of those games that it is a shame they can't hand out 2 Super Bowls, 2 Lombardis, because that game was fantastic. And I tell you, watching the game, I found myself saying, either one of those teams could beat Kansas City, but the truth is they're probably not going to, because nobody does, But I mean, I'm watching. I thought that game was as advertised. I thought the quarterbacks were as advertised. I thought the snow made it cool, yet it really didn't affect it, I thought it might have affected the non-catch at the end of the game, but I thought it was a fantastic game. So we'll talk a lot of NFL today. We'll talk Jags coaching search now that Ben Johnson's off the board. We'll talk some basketball. Got a whole lot more to do. Glad you're with us. Do want to thank our friends from the Best Bet. Always a Best Bet Monday. The Best Bet Winter Open Series kicks off Thursday. Event number 1, a $400 no-limit hold'em and a $200,000 guarantee. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
There's a reason why people love to listen to play-by-play on the radio.
This is unbelievable what we're witnessing. I'm serious.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Find your New Year's stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Eagles are favored by 5.5 points over Washington in the NFC title game. The over-under is 48 points. In the AFC, the Bills are a 1.5-point road underdog versus the Chiefs. The total on that game is 47.5 points. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code, 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJax.com.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
All right, we thank our friends from the Best Bet Satellites into the event, number 1, and Mega Satellites into the Winter Open main event. They happen all week long. That's at Best Bet Jacksonville on Monument Road. You want to have a big time, you head to the Best Bet. Frangie and Carlyon, La Selva with you on a cold, kind of a nice day, but a cold day out there. The news of the day, you know by now, Ben Johnson hired by the Raiders. Tom Pelissero just tweeted this or posted this within the hour. Tom Brady and the Raiders made a push for Ben Johnson, and the Jaguars also interviewed him, but Chicago was always the most likely landing spot. I like Tom, but I'm not sure I saw that tweet when he said, must have tweeted that earlier. I must have missed that post earlier.
Right.
When he said it was likely headed to Chicago. Sorry, Tom, must have missed that one. Negotiations heated up quickly this morning. This is still from the post from Pelissero. Negotiations heated up quickly this morning, and now the Bears have landed their guy. They're finalizing a deal to bring in Ben Johnson. Again, I would guess that this was done without anybody having a one-on-one interview with him. I would guess, because typically, you know the rules by now. We've all followed them. There's certain days. Now, a coach like Vrabel, Saleh, these guys that weren't under contract could interview with whatever team. But other than that, I think this big list of candidates, for the most part, we're all still working. Now, Patrick Graham, I guess, wasn't working. But for the most part, of this list, you know, Joe Brady was still working. Todd Monken was still working. Ben Johnson was working. Cohen was working till a week or so ago. So most of these guys were working and couldn't do. I think Cohen, even though they were eliminated a week ago, Hays, couldn't interview in person till today.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So even though they were eliminated a week ago, I think none of these other guys could do one-on-one interviews until today. So Ben Johnson on his way to Chicago. I'll say it one more time, then we'll get to some of the candidates. I'm still not convinced any of these guys that have never done it before are going to be great. I understand why they're exciting candidates, but Hayes, I'm not convinced yet until I see these guys that haven't done it before. I was never down on Ben Johnson. He would have been my choice. Vrabel was I said this from day one. Vrabel would have been my choice number 1. Ben would have been my choice number 2, and they're the first 2 guys to come off the board, so that's not really a surprise. I'm pretty convinced Vrabel's going to be pretty good. I just am. There's not another candidate that I'm convinced will be good. There's a bunch that I think probably will turn out to be good, but I'm still not sure what to make of any of these guys who haven't done it before.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jags are now in a tough spot. I mean, I say that I'm with you. I think it'll end up being Liam Cohen, who, you know, I understand Liam Cohen, I'm sure, is not going to put any requirements on the job. He is basically going to be like, I love what you guys have built here. I think it's ideal for me coming in. And so I don't think he's going to have any requests at all. He doesn't have any leverage. Robert Saleh doesn't have any leverage if they elect to go defensive. I don't think Aaron Glenn is. It seems like, Aaron Glenn's headed somewhere else. So I don't.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, I don't know that he's really in it. And Joe Brady is still coaching. So, if they want, Joe Brady, that was the pick of Dan Graziano last week when he kind of filled out his predictions. So maybe Joe Brady ends up getting in it, but I don't think so. I think Trent Baalke has wanted Liam Cohen from the outset because he wanted a guy that doesn't have much of a resume, that isn't going to be able to use or even think about using any kind of leverage to get any sort of front office change done. And so I think Trent Baalke is going to convince Shad Khan. And look, I'm sure Liam Cohen, does interview well. I'm sure he's a smart guy. He just doesn't have a lot of NFL experience. I mean, at all. I mean, it's just hard to look past the fact that he's never been an offensive coordinator more than 1 year at any stop. He doesn't have an extensive history as a position coach. So, I mean, honestly, I think with Ben Johnson now off the board, I think the search becomes pretty boilerplate. I think it's Liam Cohen. They don't have any other competition for him. And, I do think it makes sense for them to want an offensive mind, and they're going to get that. And look, hopefully he ends up being the best hire that any club's made in 10 years. I just wish there was more on the resume.
Who would you like to see, now that Vrabel and Ben Johnson are off the board, who would you like to see them choose of the remaining candidates? And you can say 2 or 3 guys. You don't have to say Guy X.
I think the best guy.
I don't even know that I'm married to Guy X.
I think the best guy would be Todd Monken.
Okay.
Now that Ben Johnson's off the board, Todd Monken his season's over. He's 58 years old. I do think some life experience would be helpful. Obviously, you can't argue with his results. He's been an offensive coordinator for multiple years now in Baltimore. He does have head coaching experience at the college level. He was fantastic, obviously, for the Georgia Bulldogs. And he's been around. He's seasoned. But, I mean, I don't have any belief at all that even though they have interviewed him, that he is going to be in play here. I hate to make it such so black and white, but I think it is now going to be Liam Cohen. I will be stunned if it isn't because of the politics in play here. And I think because of that, Liam Cohen is going to greatly benefit.
Yeah, what you don't know, what I don't know, is I'm going to trust that you take all these interviews seriously. What I wonder is, in this group of, they interviewed 10 coaches, right? I think the number's 10. They interviewed 10. That includes Ben Johnson. There are 9 left that they've had an interview with. Robert Saleh was here in person. The rest of the interviews were all by way of Zoom. The question I would have, and I don't know the answer to this, is there anybody of those 9 that blew them away in the interview? What I will tell you is what I told you last week. The 3 people I heard that did extremely well when interviewing by way of Zoom were Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, and Aaron Glenn. That's the 3 Now, by the way, to be clear, that doesn't mean any of the other 7 didn't do well. That doesn't mean the other 7 failed the test. It just means that I was told specifically that the 3 who did extremely well in that interview were Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, and Aaron Glenn, and that those are the 3 that kind of wowed those that were watching. That's what I was told. And again, I want to be clear. Maybe others did too, but those are the 3 that kind of, doing the intel as best I could, kind of jumped off the page. So I do think this. I'll bet you this whole thing with everybody starts to move now. I'll bet you I get the same, by the way, what you said about Aaron Glenn. I get that. I don't know why I get that feeling, but I get the feeling he's headed elsewhere. I just do. Whether it's the Jets, I know the Jets and Saints are both in play for him, right? My gut tells me the only reason I wonder if it wouldn't be the Jets, did they just do that with Robert Saleh? Are they hiring the same guy again? Sometimes teams go a different direction, but if you have a really good candidate, you don't let what happened or didn't happen with the previous candidate affect that, I wouldn't think, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I hear you. I get that same sense. So we'll see. I think we'll start hearing about second interviews and words about who's coming in for second interviews. And yeah, I would think of all the names we've heard, of the 9 remaining guys they interviewed for the first time, Hays, yeah, I'm not going to go as far as say I'd be shocked if he's not the coach, but it is the guy I think is going to be the coach if I had to bet now. And by the way, let me, again, so I'm not disingenuous. If you asked me, I said this on Friday, if you asked me to bet my money who the next Jaguar coach would be, I said I'd bet Ben Johnson. That's what I said Friday. And if it wasn't him, I'd say, and if I was betting my money, I'd bet on Liam Cohen. That's what I said. And so I still would. So I think I will say this, given everything we've heard, it's safe to say we'd all be beyond shocked now if Cohen isn't one of the group that comes back for a second interview. Is that a safe comment? Yeah, I think that I wouldn't be. I'm not going to be shocked if anybody is or isn't hired. But the one guy I think I would be beyond shocked if he's not in. How many do you bring back? 3 or 4? I mean, typically.
Who knows what they'll do? But I mean, I would think, like 3 to 5.
Yeah, 3 to 5 you bring back. I think that's probably right. So of the 3 to 5 you bring back to actually meet them in person, the one I would be beyond shocked if he's not in the mix is Liam Cohen. That's the one. And look, Ben Johnson, I was, again, all the way back to when I refused to talk about candidates when they still had a coach. And when they had Doug Peterson, everybody else was throwing out Ben Johnson's name. I wasn't going to go there till they didn't have a coach. Well, then they didn't have a coach. The 2 names I was most excited about were Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson. I said that from day one. But when they're off the page, I'm like, Todd Monken, I'm biased because I know Todd really well. I think he'd be great. I don't get the sense he's in the mix. My gut tells me that he's just not. Just like your gut told you that Aaron Glenn isn't coming here, my gut tells me that Todd Monken isn't in the mix on this one. I'd like to see him be in it. But having said all that, yeah, I'm moderately intrigued by Liam Cohen. I think he is a really good offensive mind. I think the one thing that the Jags under Shad's watch the Jags period have never done in their 30-year history is bring in the highly regarded offensive mind, the young forward-thinking offensive mind that has been. And by the way, to be clear, they haven't all been successful. A lot of them have, a lot of them haven't, or a lot of them have, some of them haven't. But I would say for me, I would say I'm now that I know Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel are not going to be the Jaguars football coach, I'm intrigued with Liam Cohen. I'm intrigued with if he winds up being the guy. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be behind whoever they hire. Whoever they hire, I'm going to root for him. I'm going to get on the whatever guy train, whoever it winds up being. But I'm excited about what I think Liam Cohen might be. And if it turns out not to be him, I'll get excited about the next guy. So I think that's where we are. So, but anyway, the news of the day: Ben Johnson is to the Bears. He will be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. The Jags will bring back, I would imagine, a handful of the 9 remaining candidates that they've interviewed, most of whom by way of Zoom. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Let's talk about the NFL weekend. What a great NFL weekend it was. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Made in Jacksonville, for Jacksonville, by Jacksonville. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
This is Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here. It's New Year, new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. With their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet is more than just trucks. They've got the largest inventory of new Chevy SUVs in town right on their lot. Visit the showroom on Cassett Avenue. NimnickChevy.com. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What'll I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands and table games clockwork cash out, giving away $300 cash every 15 minutes and selected weekends at all 3 Best Bet locations. Catch all the excitement in 2025. See all the details and learn the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts. When was the first cruise ship voyage?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The first cruise voyage was on the Princess and Victoria Louise, which set sail on her maiden voyage in January of 1901.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Ring in the new year with a new boat. Don't miss the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. Come buy a boat.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frangie and Carlyon La Silva with you. We all fought that gunk. JJ, you kind of beyond it now?
I beat it.
You beat it?
I beat it.
You beat its ass is what you did.
But I took some people with me, unfortunately.
I was dispatched to the guest bedroom for a couple nights. As you said, you were too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of begged my way back into the good bedroom.
Sucks for me. I just have I have a couch.
Okay.
We only have one bedroom.
I got it.
So
I got it.
Really screwed.
So when dispatched, you're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I begged my way back into the good bedroom. I was allowed back in with some rules. Don't keep me awake was kind of the rule, which is kind of a fair rule.
Fair rule.
And
hard to argue that one.
And so then I felt better, but I got the cough going. So 2 nights ago in the middle of the night, I'm instructed to A, quit coughing, B, head back to the other bedroom. I was given 2 choices, so I stayed. Last night, I felt better, but I was so subconscious about the coughing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was so you get the cough.
It becomes habitual.
Coming. Yeah, it does. Correct, and it's coming, and you know the cough's coming, but you can't come because you've already been warned.
Yeah,
and so it's so that was my night last night, dealing with the cough. So I suppressed it.
That's good.
Okay, I probably needed to throw up when I got up, but I suppressed it. So there's that. All right, you know the news of the day. Ben Johnson to the Bears. We'll talk more about the job search. Hays and I kind of went over some of the candidates and trying to wonder which ones will be brought back from a second interview. Again, I'll reiterate what I said before. The one that would shock everybody that is not brought back would be Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator from Tampa Bay. The rest of the group, but we'll certainly know the Jags have been very transparent about who they bring for a first interview, and I would imagine it'll be the same for a second interview. What about the weekend of games? Well, what about let's start with the most recent. God, what a game that was between the Bills and the Ravens. And I didn't care who won. I probably was rooting for the Ravens in large part because you and Gene were, and because Lamar is such a good story and had such a good year, and Derrick Henry's there. You know, I mean, I wasn't passionately, but I probably wanted them to win if I had to want one of them, you know. But I watched them go back and forth, and I just had this. And by the way, I agree with John Harbaugh, to go for 2 people. Oh, so if he'd kicked the extra point, it would have been 27-20. In today's day and age, in a game like that, you got a chance to tie the game in the fourth quarter, you tie the game. You know, I don't believe this whole, if you'd kicked the extra point, we go for it too early. That made sense 15 years ago. Now people go for 2, just like they go for it on 4th down. That's just what you do now. And so, but when they got the ball back, even after the penalty, I said, they're going down the field. Didn't you have the hunch?
Absolutely. I was very confident.
Yeah, they were going down the field, and Mark Andrews has caught 360 passes from Lamar Jackson. Nobody else in a Ravens uniform has caught half that many. Do you realize that?
Mm-hmm.
Not half that many. And he had the fumble earlier. Well, so did Lamar. They both had a fumble they wanted back earlier in the game.
Andrews had a drop early, too.
And he had a drop earlier in the game. But I was totally confident. Lamar even made sure, he almost pumped.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just guided it right to his chest, and Andrews knows you probably catch that ball out in your hands. Instead, he let it get to his chest. He had 2 chances to catch it, by the way. He almost double caught it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game was over, and I felt not even caring. I can only imagine if that was your team. If I know how gut-wrenching it was. I mean, your wife is a diehard Ravens fan. I can only imagine what that felt like, because I know I felt numb after, and I didn't really care. I just wanted more football, And I thought, God, what a gut. You talk about that, how neither team deserved to lose. What a finish to it. What a marvelous game it really was.
It was. I mean, I think the Ravens deserved to lose. The Bills played a very clean game. We were watching it saying, when are the Bills going to make one of these mistakes? Because Yeah, it wasn't all Mark Andrews. Lamar threw a bad pick early.
Right.
And, in terms of was there a miscommunication, who knows? But they threw an interception that was pretty much a gift to Buffalo. And then you had, Lamar lose the ball, and Von Miller had the big return. And then Mark Andrews just played the worst game of his career. But even, I will say, like, even if he catches it and it's tied with a minute and a half left and Buffalo having all their timeouts, it still was going to be awfully difficult for Baltimore to win that game. Odds are Josh Allen would have found the 40 yards he needed to set up a field goal to win the game. So it still would have been difficult, I think, but to have it end in that fashion.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. It wasn't like there were 4 seconds left.
Right. And that was sort of, we were once, because Baltimore got hot early on that drive to the point where they were at Buffalo's maybe 25 with still like a minute and 50 left. And at that point, it was like, all right, we'll bring in Henry and now start, utilizing some of that clock and make Buffalo have to, think about burning timeouts. And again, it's hindsight's, it's easy to say that. I'm sure in the moment, John Harbaugh and Todd Monken were like, look, we're in a groove. Let's just go get the points. But I do think it would have been difficult on Baltimore's defense, who had issues all game long and had not been able to force any big miscue from the Bills. So my guess is Buffalo would have gone down the field and kicked the game-winning field goal. But still, yeah, it was really the theme of the games. Baltimore was -3 with drops. Buffalo played a clean game, and it's not exciting, but it's the team that plays the smoothest, that often advances in the tournament. And Buffalo, to their credit, there wasn't a lot of sizzle, but they just didn't beat themselves, and they didn't self-destruct, and the Ravens did.
Great point. Game 1 yesterday. How good is Saquon Barkley? I mean, I know it's more to it than that, and the big sack at the end of the game. After the Puka Nacua catch,
yeah,
I thought the Rams were going to win.
I did too.
Up until then, I never thought the Rams were going to beat the Eagles until the catch on the silence.
That was one of the best catches.
Unbelievable. I said they're going to win.
And the elements like that, and to pin it on his shoulder and get both feet in. He's an unbelievable player.
Really is. And so, but Philadelphia is built the right way, man. Particularly for that weather.
Mm-hmm.
But they are built the right way. Saquon Barkley is so good.
Jalen Carter couldn't be blocked late.
Could not be blocked. He couldn't be blocked. And so I'll give them. They just kept Georgia kept winning national titles, and Philadelphia just kept drafting their players. Here's how you do it. Take the team that wins all the national titles and recruits all the 5-stars and just go get all their players. It's not really rocket science. It's a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
And so they get all. I mean, they didn't even have Nakobe Dean, one of their players.
Yeah.
And they just get all their players and so.
I mean, Philadelphia has a nice array of weapons in the passing game, but they really don't need them. No. I mean, A.J. Brown was pretty quiet, and Goddard, had a play here and there. But Saquon is just that's. In that weather, and Jalen will mix in some runs.
Yeah.
He obviously
the first
got him
touchdown.
off to a great start with the big touchdown run early. But but I'm with you. I thought Stafford was going to find some magic. We were sort of watching that game because we kind of, once Saquon broke the big one to go up 2 scores, we just sort of stopped kind of paying attention.
Right.
And then looked up, and it was like, whoa, this is a 6-point game, and the Rams have the ball.
I did the same thing. I thought the game was over, and all of a sudden, here come the Rams down 6, and then I saw the catch. So I thought the same thing. In the NFC game on Saturday, the biggest shocker of the weekend, in your opinion, what happened there? Did the Lions was it a combination of the Lions finally ran out of too many good defensive players, and they caught that red-hot quarterback? I mean, is that kind of the thesis statement if you kind of combine those two thoughts? That's what I think.
I put it all on Ben Johnson, and I think it shows how unqualified he was to be at. No,
well said. I wish I'd led with that. I got it wrong.
I was absolutely flabbergasted by that result.
They couldn't slow him down, Hays.
Couldn't slow him down. Tons of mistakes, from Jared Goff, who has played, so well for them. And, again, we talked about it. Detroit -5. I mean, it felt like a team that just couldn't accept the moment, and that it was just too much for them. And to Washington's credit, I mean, Jaden Daniels is just such a superstar. I mean, what is he going to be in 3-4 years?
You're right, and I will tell you, of all the Goff mistakes, the killer for me wasn't the last one. Was late in the half, the interception on the post pattern, because that was there, and he was just so late with it. Now he had the big hit before that and left the game and come back in, but I thought. I didn't you think that? I thought that's when he let it go, I thought it was a touchdown.
Should have been a touchdown.
And then it was an easy interception. It went from being should have been a touchdown to a very easy interception. I thought that was the dagger because that's the get back in the game score.
Yeah, and you also have a pick six on an errant throw that's high, and it was just peculiar because it just seemed like Detroit gagged, really. I mean, that it was a choke job. I mean, you're at home, you're playing a rookie quarterback. How much belief is really there in Washington if you can get up to, a nice lead early. What kind of fight are the Commanders going to have? But when you allow them to score 31 in the first half, then obviously, that's the danger of a young team. They don't know that they're. They should be 2 years away from this moment. And, now it becomes really exciting to see what Washington can present to Philadelphia in terms of a challenge. But I think, in my opinion, of all the losses we've seen over the last 10 years in the NFL, I don't know that this would be one. I mean, we do have a team that blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. So it's not one, but of just maybe non-Super Bowl playoff losses, what happened to Detroit Saturday night has got to be very high on the list. I mean, if they played Washington 10 times, they'd beat them 9.
It sure felt that way.
And how they just had that complete meltdown.
Right.
When, and again.
Because their coach was on their way to Chicago.
Exactly.
They saw the plane tickets, what it was. Right. They saw the dang plane ticket. And finally, in the other game, Let me say this, okay? People aren't going to like this, but let me give you a reality of sports, all right? Yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to get some phantom roughing the passers. Let me give you a reality. Tom Brady got phantom roughing the passers. Joe Montana got phantom roughing the passers. If you blew on Michael Jordan, it was a foul. I'm assuming if you got anywhere near Wayne Gretzky, it was 2 minutes in the penalty box. I wasn't around in 1927, but I'm doubting Babe Ruth got called out on a third strike very often. That's just how it is. When you become the GOAT, you're getting calls. No matter, I see people get upset about it. Well, it's not changing the game. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it should happen. It shouldn't happen. But as long as I followed sports, it has happened. They're the great, not the good ones, the great ones are always going to get that call. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to get one this week. Isn't he? Isn't that kind of where that's where sports are. Like it or not, that's a reality of sports.
Well, and again, you have to commend the Chiefs. They play clean football in the tournament.
Great point.
Just don't make mistakes, and they'll just wait on you to make your mistakes. And I thought Houston played decently, and Houston has an elite kicker, but Fairburn misses 2 field goals and an extra point.
He's had a rough year.
That is a killer.
I know.
I mean, it's not just the points. Those are momentum killers.
And that's a great point about how clean the Chiefs play, because they do. And when you get to a point, back to the point I made a minute ago, the Phoenix Suns are going to miss a layup against the Bulls they ordinarily wouldn't miss, because you're playing the Bulls and that aura happens. The Falcons are going to blow that 28-3 lead. Okay, they probably would not have blown that 28-3 lead if they were playing the Steelers or the Ravens, but they weren't. I just, you know what I mean, Hays? I just think that happens, that you get nervous when you're playing the GOAT. The GOAT's relaxed. The officials, all of it happens when you're – they're going to be hard to beat, man. I don't know that they've got better personnel than the Buffalo Bills. I don't know that they do. If player for player, I don't know that now they might. I mean, they're pretty damn good, but they're going to win. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, because that's kind of what they do.
It's hard to go against them. I mean, because they just show no signs of having a game where they're going to be, they're going to commit 3 turnovers and only get 1, and they're going to be called for 78 penalties, and the opponent's only going to be called for 4. I mean, they just, other than the only mistake the Kansas City Chiefs make is the right tackle still has no idea what a false start is. And so they're going to get, a Jawan Taylor false start here and there. But other than that, I mean, they just don't make a lot of big mistakes. And they do have the confidence that by the time you get to the end of 60 minutes, they're going to have more points. And I do think that that's very powerful. I mean, all the pressure will be on Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's trying to, win its first Super Bowl. Buffalo's trying to get to its first Super Bowl in the Josh Allen era. So all the pressure is going to be on Buffalo, and how do they handle that? And it's going to be the same thing in the NFC game. Washington's playing with total house money. I mean, they're 2 years away from arriving. And so, I mean, they'll have no pressure. Philly will have tons of pressure on it. And that'll be a big intangible in both games. It'll be harder for the Bills because they're on the road and they've got the pressure. Philly is at least at home,
right? And
they have more experience. But it should be, I mean, 2 fantastic matchups. But yeah, how could you possibly bet against the Chiefs? I mean, they are just not going to make a mistake, and they will wait on you, and eventually you will self-destruct.
I 100%, really well put, 100% true. I like this Eagles team. I like how they're built. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I like how they play. I like how physical they are. I like the fact that they don't need their quarterback to be 28 of 32 for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns. They don't need that. I think that's kind of cool. I like the fact that their quarterback takes off and runs for a 40-yard touchdown to start the game. I love running backs, and I think the running back is coming back to football. Bucky Brooks made that point on X, and he's right. The running back's coming back. I mean, it's not an accident that there were good running backs that were playing this weekend. Now, Gibbs is so good. Bijan Robinson is so good. Saquon Barkley's the best in the game. Derrick Henry was playing. I don't think it's an accident that if you look at the backs that played this weekend, there's some really good backs, like really good backs. So I love where the game has gone, and the Eagles are a fun team to watch. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's kind of reset the top of the program. The news of the day broke right before we came on the air. Ben Johnson, now the Chicago Bears football coach. What does that mean for the Bears? What does that mean for the Jaguars? We'll move forward after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Aunt Linda clogged the guest bathroom. Your nephew thought the AC was a snow machine. And let's not even talk about the kitchen sink after that turkey grease incident.
Ooh, congratulations. Your family finally left. But the mess stayed behind.
Don't worry. Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning can fix it all. From backed up pipes to overworked AC units, we've got you covered.
Start the new year fresh, because your house deserves it.
Call Duck Rooter today at 904-862-6769. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
The 1010XL Restaurant of the Day is Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. Enjoy the College Football National Championship with $4 clay lights and any pizza for $16 at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Mia here for Dreamfinders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjax.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. It's win now or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The NCAA playoffs will set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more. Whether you're backing the underdogs or riding with the favorites, every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game. The action doesn't stop. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. If you haven't joined yet, now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit, and MyBookie will hook you up with an instant bonus because you deserve to start strong.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Prize Picks. With today's news of Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson taking the job up in Chicago, the choice for the next head coach of the Jaguars gets narrowed down even thinner. Many fingers are pointing towards Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen to be the man for the job in Duval. Last week, WTSP sports director Evan Klosky joined the Helmets and Heels show to discuss what makes him a great candidate.
When it comes to Liam Cohen, what I love so much about watching his offense this season is how he was able to adapt to the talent around. Anyone can go out there, have a system, and say, hey, do this, and even if it doesn't work, this is what we're running. I don't think that's good coaching. I think good coaching is able to recognize talent you have around you and then meld the offense or mold it to the way that it should be that fits their best strengths.
It's 44 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ La Selva. Whew, that was a good cough drop.
Yeah.
Did you make that yourself?
I did not. I don't have that skill.
You wrapped it.
I just purchased them.
Thank you for the loaner.
Sure thing.
That's what you get around here, bonding.
That's right.
You need a cough drop? Guy gives you a cough
I gotcha.
drop. I mean, a cough drop. I mean, cough drop right about now.
It's fantastic.
It's pretty significant. That's what it is.
You've got a good, I'd say, 15 minutes. So
good. I'm okay,
freedom.
I'm okay to 5:20.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it right now. Frangie Carlyon, myself with you. Let's reset the news of the day. Right about 10 minutes before we came on the air, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from Detroit, accepted the Chicago Bears head coaching job. I was very surprised by it. I'm not surprised he picked the Bears. Well, let me rephrase that. I am surprised he picked the Bears. I think in a perfect world, you always heard that he wanted small town and that he had interest in this job. But I'll say this again. I'll say what I said at the top. If he took the job before we went on the air today, something was brewing. I just don't think you wake up and say, I'm taking a job. I mean, this is the most important decision of his life. So to take the job now, I don't believe he decided today. And I could be wrong about that. I don't know the details. It just looked like it was moving along. All the word was that the Jaguars, Raiders, and Bears were all in the hunt for him. Tom Pelissero wrote today after he took the job that this was the one that made the most sense all along and was the most likely landing spot. With all due respect to Tom, I don't remember Tom writing that before the hire, but nonetheless he is there. So and I told Hays this 3 weeks ago. There was going to be this narrative forms that Doug needs to be fired in the fan base, and he got fired, and that Ben Johnson is the answer, and that he's the only answer. And oh my God, if they don't get him, and well, they didn't get him, there would be a fallout. Well, you knew you at least in some segments of the fan base that would happen. Well, Ben Johnson's moved on. So now the question becomes, who is the coach? You know by now the 10 coaches that they have interviewed. There's a handful of defensive, tough, hard-nosed, culture-setting, leader of men type guys. There's Aaron Glenn. There's Robert Saleh. There's Brian Flores. There's Patrick Graham. Who am I missing, Hays? That's the four. That's four that come to mind. That's the four key. And then there's the young offensive guys who will develop. Trevor, we believe. Ben Johnson was one of those. So is Liam Cohen. So is Joe Brady. Todd Monken is an offensive guy, a little bit older. That's the collection of coaches. I think we can all agree that of all those coaches, the one name we're most certain will come back for a second interview is Liam Cohen. And I will tell you now, I will support whoever they hire. I will be excited about whoever they hire. So I'm not going to say one thing now, and then if it's someone else, and well, Frangie, you said you wanted this guy. Well, Vrabel was my first pick. I'm not backing off that. Ben Johnson was my second pick. But I'll support whoever they get. I respect the process. And now I will tell you, with where they are now, I could get excited about Liam Cohen. The concern is not a lot of experience, a point you've made very accurately. Also, not a lot of people knocking down his door to be a head coach. Not yet. But, I mean, as Pete Prisco pointed out, I forgot he said it. Our social staff just reposted it, that the Bucs were the only team in the league this year that were in the top 5 in both rushing and passing. He understands the importance of the running game, which the Jags couldn't get going last week. And I'm going on and on as if he's the coach. Who knows, right? But given where they are now, Hays, that's probably the one that excites me the most.
Yeah, I would think that Liam Cohen has an excellent chance. He's a young, offensive-minded head coach, and he's not going to he has no leverage. Ben Johnson had leverage, and Shad Khan said, no, I'm not changing out my general manager for a head coach candidate that I don't know. I think that's a terrible mistake. I feel sorry for the Jaguar fans because I think this 2 weeks has illustrated that this is not a serious organization when it comes to trying to win the Lombardi Trophy, because you just don't get pushed around in this situation. You do what you need to do to go get the best guy. I don't fault them for not getting Mike Vrabel. He's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. That would have taken the sale of the century to convince Mike Vrabel to take the job when Robert Kraft was after him. So I don't fault the Jaguars for not getting Mike Vrabel. I do fault the Jaguars for not firing Trent Baalke, and because I believe if they had done that, and I think Ben Johnson would be here. Now we may get 3 years down the road, and Ben Johnson is back to being a quarterback's coach somewhere because he couldn't hack it in Chicago, and whoever the Jaguars hire might be a 2-time coach of the year, and hopefully that's how it plays out. I have to go off probabilities, and probabilities tell me that this is probably going to be a day we look back on with more trepidation than glee. Again, I just worry about Liam Cohen being ready. I mean, does he know offense? Yeah, I mean, obviously he knows offense, and that's good. But you've got to be able to, as the head coach, you've got to be able to communicate to all levels. And he just hasn't been in the league that long. I mean, he hasn't been a position coach. I mean, he's been an assistant position coach. So, and he got to be an offensive coordinator for 1 year with the Rams. And then McVay's like, I don't know that I'm going to keep this job. So you guys should move on because I don't know what to tell you. He goes back to Kentucky. Then he gets this opportunity with Tampa Bay. And look, he did great. It's 1 year. I think there's a high potential for Liam Cohen to basically be here 3 years, have very little idea and very little success, and then they'll be, right back where they are now, and they'll have wasted another 3 years, and fans will have had to have watched 3 more years of bad football. So, I mean, that's my concern, but hopefully whoever they hire ends up being fantastic. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be Liam Cohen because no one else is interested in him, and he's an offensive mind, and he's not going to demand anything. I mean, I'm sure he's going to rave about the decisions Trent Baalke has made because he wants to be a head coach, and he probably realizes. I mean, he's got buddies in the business. He probably realizes that if he gets a head coaching job with this flimsy a resume, I mean, you got to strike. I mean, you can't wait. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, next year when you're now an offensive coordinator for the first time ever, for the second year in a row someplace. What if it doesn't go well, and then where is your career? So I'm with you. I think it'll be Liam Cohen. Hopefully he's great, but I fear for what this is going to turn into.
Yeah, and I will be, so I'm probably more hopeful than Hays is if it is Cohen. I will say, I do believe they will bring back. Hays said 3 to 5, which I think is pretty close. I think they'll bring back, 30 to 50% of the people that have come through here or that interviewed by way of Zoom, which, by the way, they should do, which they should. So we'll see. And I want to be clear, if they wind up hiring one of these defensive guys, after I've said I hope it's Liam Cohen, I'm going to get behind that defensive guy. If Brian Flores is the next Jaguars head coach, by the way, I have no idea if he's in it or not. I think he's going to be a good head coach next time around. He won 7 of his last 8 games as a Miami Dolphins coach. He had his last two seasons were winning seasons. He only got 3 years there. He was gone because the quarterback didn't like him. He clashed mightily with Tua Tagovailoa. He was a veteran quarterback guy. He probably would have rather been playing Ryan Tannehill that whole time, right? And I think he's going to be pretty good. And again, I have no idea if he's one of the ones. I don't sense that he's one of the ones the Jags will bring back. My gut, I got a hunch that there's 2 or 3, and I don't sense that he's one of them. But we'll see. But I do believe a handful of guys will be back for second interviews, and I think the Jaguars will pick their coach. I also think this. I would not be surprised if all of these teams, the Jaguars included, have a football coach by the weekend. Agree or disagree?
I mean, there's no unless they want Joe Brady.
Yeah, and well, that's right. That's right. Good. You know what? Good point.
But yeah, short of that, if
he's the only one
Liam
left.
Cohen is now the apple of their eye.
Yeah,
there is no reason to wait.
And the same with the Jets.
Again, Liam Cohen needs as much time as humanly possible to get in on the job, evaluate what he has, and start forming a plan. The rest of the league is forming their plan.
Here's what I wonder, too. The Raiders really wanted Ben Johnson. By all accounts, really wanted him. They wanted the offensive mind, and Tom Brady really wanted a guy that thinks a step beyond offensively. Do they pursue Cohen now? Because they haven't interviewed him.
Who is this?
The Raiders. What do the Raiders do now? Because I think everything you read, and I will tell you even everything that I hear, is that the Raiders were trying to go all in on Ben. I'm not sure Ben ever wanted to go to Las Vegas, from everything you hear from people that either you and I have different sources that said the same thing, that he never really wanted to go to Las Vegas, but that the Raiders were all in on him. I wonder now, do the Raiders wait on Joe Brady? If that's really what they want, offensive guy, which is what you're hearing, do they wait on Joe Brady? Do they pivot? And all of a sudden, do we hear that Liam Cohen is going to have one of those 3-hour conversations with Tom Brady that Ben Johnson had? I wonder where the Raiders go. I'm intrigued. I guess I'm intrigued by that one a little.
Yeah, I would agree. They've interviewed Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, so
Right.
maybe they pivot
defensive guys.
to more of a defensive approach.
Right.
So yeah, that one's going to be really interesting to see who ends up in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So, but I would guess that all these teams have their head coach. Would not surprise me if it's all done within a week. We will see. Let's take a break. Hays has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
And now for something completely different.
1010XL can now be heard on your radio.
Now you can listen
From sunup to sundown.
You can play it all day long.
New and improved.
This radio station will remain on the air.
1010XL.
We invite you now to listen.
This is Hays Carlyon for physician-guided weight loss. I needed help losing weight. I'm older and I just don't have the discipline needed to lose weight on my own. Luckily, I discovered physician-guided weight loss. Their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and proven results sold me. I'm already seeing amazing results. They can help you too, and it's affordable with firm pricing. No rising costs as you go. If you're like me and you're looking to kick off the new year with a leaner body, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
When it's time for new tires, you can count on Big Chief Tire for quality and value. Frank Frangie here. Their expert team will help you quickly find the right fit, ensuring a safe, comfortable ride. With quality options, fair prices, and quick installation, you'll be back on the road in no time. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today to schedule your appointment and roll into 2025 with great confidence. Big Chief Tire keeps Jack rolling.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you
doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed, and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right. Buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he's got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
You know, many plumbers won't quote prices over the phone and instead charge a service fee for an in-home estimate. Of course, because they know once they're in your home, you're probably not going to send them away. But Roland Reach Plumbing is different. Roland will give you a price quote over the phone, and there's never a trip charge or service fee for an estimate. So if you've got a leak and can't wait a week and don't like paying unnecessary fees, call on Roland Reach Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Storms are part of every season. Make sure you're protected. Call American Electrical to make sure you have the best in surge protection. Don't lose your home electronics to a lightning strike. Call 737-7770 for American Electrical.
This is Hays Carlyon for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, Frank, we have been talking about the news of the day. Ben Johnson has decided he is going to go coach the Chicago Bears. Where do you think the search now goes for the Jaguars?
Yeah, I would think of the 9 left that they interviewed, you'll see 3 or 4 come back this week. I would expect Liam Cohen is one of those. We could guess all day at the other 3 or 4. I don't know. I think as far as offensive, I don't get the sense Todd Monken's one of them. Joe Brady can't come, so he's still playing. So if they bring back 3 or 4, for the most part, it's Liam Cohen and 2 or 3 defensive guys. So that's where I think it's going. I think it's going to Liam Cohen and I don't think they're going to wait a week to hire to bring Joe Brady in. I don't sense that. So I think it's Liam Cohen and one of a handful of defensive guys. My guess is 3. You said it right. 3 to 5 guys. That's my guess. Maybe 4. Maybe more 4 than 5. Liam Cohen and 3 or 4 defensive guys are coming in, and I think one of those will be the next Jaguars coach.
Let's get to around the NFL. Washington shocks Detroit 45-31. Where does that one rank for you in terms of stunners?
Well, I'll tell you what. Very stunning. For me, it's probably not quite a top of the list stunner because of the lack of Detroit's blue blood status. That shouldn't have anything to do with it. But if the Dallas Cowboys were 15-2 and on top of the world, you know what I mean, Hays? It would have probably stunned me more if the Patriots, because the Lions, there's still a side of me that has to see the Lions do it once before I'm convinced they're going to do it. But no, I was very surprised. I was surprised. I know Detroit suffered a lot of defensive injuries. They couldn't stop them. No matter what, they couldn't. The fact that Washington hung 45 is probably the biggest surprise to me. They just couldn't get them stopped. And combine that with Jared Goff's just really bad mistakes. What happened?
Kansas City marches past Houston to reach a 7th straight AFC title game.
The last time Kansas City wasn't in an AFC championship game, Miles Jack wasn't down.
That's amazing.
Did you realize that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
The last time Patrick Mahomes didn't quarterback in that game, Blake Bortles did. It's hard to believe. And they're going to win again. I mean, they are the ultimate know-how-to-win team. They really are.
The Eagles hold off pesky Rams 28-22. Did you think L.A. was going to pull it out at the end?
I did. I never thought Los Angeles was winning that game until that throw along the right sideline to Puka Nacua, and he caught it, pinning it to his body, falling out of bounds. 28-22. I said, I'll be damned, they're going to win the game. And by the way, then they're at home. They're going to win the game and play the NFC. And back then, they'd be back in SoFi. They're going to win that damn game. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. I remember thinking about when he caught that ball, I said, Sean McVay's going to have them in the Super Bowl again. That was my thought. At the time of the catch, that was my thought.
Yeah, me too. I thought the same exact thing. The Bills take advantage of a sloppy Ravens team to win 27-25.
I thought that game was so enjoyable to watch. They could have played 3 more hours, and I'd have loved every minute of it. I was so disappointed on the drop by Andrews, and I hated it for him because he's a really good player, 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. He's got 51 career touchdowns, and he's not even out of his 20s yet. He's caught 360 passes from Lamar Jackson. No other player has half that. I hated it for him. I love the way Jackson took up for him after the game. I thought it was great stuff. But the main reason I wanted him to catch it is I wanted more football. Now, you made a good point that I hadn't thought about. Buffalo was probably coming down to kick the field goal anyway, so there probably wasn't going to be overtime. I thought it was a fantastic. And I thought that was as good as advertised go. I hope every Super Bowl lives up to what that quarterfinal did. I really do.
Let's get to college football. We've got a national championship game tonight.
No, we don't. Tonight,
Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
This night, we have one tonight.
How about that?
By the way, and again, I blame Ben Johnson. He was inconsiderate. We haven't even talked about that.
I know.
I haven't even mentioned, by the way, they're playing for the title tonight.
Isn't that wild?
And so, yes, it is wild. I think Ohio State's going to win. I'm going to root like crazy for Notre Dame. I am such a Southeastern football snob that the fact that no SEC team, plus FSU, Clemson, Miami, the other Deep South teams aren't in, kind of pisses me off. There's no reason for it to bug me. It just does. You know, I'm a snob. We deserve to have somebody. Where's LSU when you need them? Where are the Dogs when you need them? Where's Dabo when you freaking need him? I don't like the fact that none of them are in it. I don't like it, but I'm going to watch every snap.
Chance of an upset tonight?
Yeah, there's a chance. There is, but I think Ohio State's really rolling. I really think that's the team that's got, I think Jeremiah Smith's going to catch 46 balls tonight. I think they're the team that they've got the good players. Now, Notre Dame is the kind of team that looks overmatched, and then all of a sudden you look up in the fourth quarter and it's 23-21. They're that kind of team. So, yeah, chance of an upset, but I think Ohio State wins. What's the line, by the way? I don't even know what it is.
I think it's dropped to 8.5.
Yeah.
I got it at 8.
8. Wow, okay.
But I think Ohio State wins.
Yeah, I would agree. The Gators have been active in the portal today, getting quarterback Harrison Bailey as some insurance for starter DJ Lagway.
How that didn't lead our show today, I'll never understand.
38-year-old Harrison Bailey.
Harrison Bailey comes calling. It changes everything. He's played at about 16 schools and never started.
Dr. Harrison Bailey.
Didn't he start for Tennessee?
Yes.
When Florida beat them?
Yeah.
I mean, he started for Tennessee.
Back in 2013.
Yeah, he was the backup to Todd Helton, I think. They got their backup quarterback. The Charlotte guy went in there, Deshaun Purdy. He was real excited.
That was a crazy story.
Well, then he heard they had Lagway.
Yes.
He probably didn't check the roster. Took a look at the roster. Oh, he's on this team. So he's gone. But I hope Billy works as hard to bring in maybe a couple more defensive linemen as he did to get that goddamn backup quarterback. I thought he needed a backup quarterback. I told you that before the portal season. But I wouldn't mind maybe another lineman. That would have probably been more. The next time I see Billy in the sunglasses on X, I hope it's the guy that's going to start.
Yes, I would agree. Let's get to college basketball. The Gators bounced back with a convincing 84-60 win over Texas. Elijah Martin scored 22 points as the Gators shot 58.1% in the second half. Florida is ranked 5th in the net rankings and also stayed at 5 in the AP poll.
The Missouri game was a good wake-up call. As the season goes on, that will wind up being maybe their most important game of the year, because that was you can't just roll out and win the game because all of a sudden people are talking about how good you are. Missouri had more fight and more toughness. And Texas took it to them because they're so good offensively, but Florida never backed down physically. And look, Florida's got no NBA players. All right, maybe Condon or Houck down the road can get on a roster, but they got no lottery guys. They're old and veteran and physical. They're much like the 2014 team. None of those guys were playing in the association, but they won with toughness. Well, if you can win with toughness, you got to be tough every time out like that 2014 team was, and we'll see if these guys can keep that going.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Florida State beats Georgia Tech 91-78 to improve to 4-3 in ACC play. That puts the Noles in a tie for 7th in the conference, and they are 66th in the net rankings.
They're better than they were. They've still got work to do. They're going to be a bubble team, but they can play they've got them within the next month now. It's the January 20th. Between now and the end of February, you can play your way off that bubble without needing the ACC tournament to get you there. So an important 3 or 4 weeks for the Noles, but they're better. They're clearly better than they've been.
JU defeats Central Arkansas 72-62, knocking down 10 threes.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are 5-1, tied for first in the A-Sun, and on a 5-game winning streak.
He's a really good coach. Think about it. This is his 4th year. He's been in the A-Sun championship game 2 of his first 3 years. And the one thing he had to find is some shooting, and I think he's found it. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good Atlantic Sun team. Again, they're always going to be better defensively than they are offensively. It's hard to be 5-1 in any league. And give George Mincy credit. And they've played more road games than home games, and they're 5-1. They're off to a really good start.
Yeah, absolutely. UNF loses to North Alabama 90-84. The Ospreys did hit 12 threes, but struggled defensively, allowing North Alabama to shoot 55.6% from the field. UNF dropped to 2-4 in conference play.
Yeah. I still keep telling you UNF's better than their record, and I believe that. They're going to make shots, but they're not a big and physical team, so they're going to have to make some shots and play better defense. Your point's exactly right.
Let's get to Major League Baseball. The Dodgers signed reliever Tanner Scott to a 4-year, $72 million deal. The Dodgers' payroll is estimated at $375 million. That is $70 million more than number 2 Philadelphia.
Not only is it $70 million more, there's only 3 teams north of $300 million. It's the Yankees, the Phillies, and the Dodgers. The Dodgers at $375, the Phillies at $305, the Yankees barely over $300. I've never seen anything like it. And again,
are the Mets not up there?
They're not over 3.
Okay.
They're knocking on the door.
I enjoy the Mets owner complaining about the spending in baseball after they just signed Juan Soto. Maybe you should sit this one out, bro.
The collective bargaining agreement ends after next season, after the 26th season, and there's now real conversation again about, is this the year that you deal with the possible strike to get to a cap and a floor? And so it'll be the talk is if there was a cap, the rumor kicked around is 200 to 220. What does that do to the Dodgers?
Wow,
who would be 170 over? So it'll be interesting. Who knows if it'll ever get there? But at least now the conversation has begun again.
This story caught my eye. Pirates fans lash out at CEO during fan event, calling for owner Bob Nutting to sell the team.
He didn't show up.
Yeah.
Nutting didn't show up.
Smart.
And so every time they went to ask Travis Williams, the CEO, and right when one person started asking, they start chanting, "Sell the team, sell the team, sell the team." I only regret that I wasn't there with a megaphone. So, they're one of the many teams. And listen, we've had to talk 1,000 times. They're going to make a bunch of money this year and win 72 games. And that's in there among many. They're in that situation.
We will get you out on our musical note of the day, because on this date, back in 1983, Def Leppard releases its 3rd album, Pyromania. the album would sell 10 million copies featuring Foolin', Rock of Ages, and Too Late for Love. But this is the classic. This is Photograph. Hard to believe this album is 42 years old.
Great rock album, or great rock band, no question about it. Def Leppard, well done, as always. We'll be back. We'll wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The early betting lines for the two conference championship games in the NFL on Sunday. In the NFC, the Eagles hosting Washington. Philadelphia, an early 5.5-point favorite, -115 against the spread. Washington getting the 5.5, -105. On the money line, the Commanders are +220, while the Eagles are -270, and the over-under is at 47.5. Meanwhile, in the AFC, for the fourth time in the postseason, Patrick Mahomes will play Josh Allen as the Chiefs meet the Buffalo Bills at Arrowhead. Kansas City, a 2-point home favorite, -125 on the money line. The Bills are +105. The over-under at 48.5. The over -105 and the under -115. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer.
Duck Duck Rooter is here to help you keep this resolution, investing in your home.
Start the year off right with Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769, because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, monster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Soccer continues to grow on the First Coast, and so does the need for better coverage. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley
on the Sporty Jack Soccer Hour, Tuesday nights at 6
on 10:10 a.m.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound & Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound & Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166178. Subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where we been today in the program? Well, it's all been about Ben Johnson. That came down about 10 minutes before we went on the air. Ben Johnson, the erstwhile coordinator with Detroit, now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Obviously, he was a candidate that many Jags fans were excited about. He is now off the list. We certainly talked all about that. Who are the candidates left? We'll get into that a little bit more coming up. We talked about a terrific weekend of NFL games. My goodness, what a good weekend. That Bills-Ravens game, man, that thing didn't disappoint. And so we certainly talked about that. And then through headlines, Hays reminded there's a game tonight at the college football level, I'm told. So we'll certainly talk about that coming up a little bit as we go. That is the 10-10 take. I'm sorry, that is the where we have been throughout the course of the program. Speaking of the 10-10 take, it is time for the 10-10 take. My take, it is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter. Liam Cohen, I think, now is the leading candidate. I think Liam will be brought back. We'll have news in a moment that that just moved by Jeremy Fowler on one of the interviewees who's coming back. Hays will tell you about that in a minute. But I believe that Liam Cohen is the leading candidate. I believe he would be very good. I think he's a really good offensive mind. Can he be a head coach? We'll find that out. But it wouldn't bother me one bit if Liam Cohen became the Jacksonville Jaguars head football coach. That is the 10-10 take. It's brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck, duckduckrooter.com.
Yeah, Jeremy Fowler reporting that Robert Saleh will be back in Jacksonville for an in-person interview on Friday. So it would seem like...
So that's the first one. That's the second interview we've heard about now.
Yeah, so it would seem like that's sort of forming in terms of, Liam Cohen is, I have to think, their top candidate, fits, what many believe they need, young offensive coach. And, and if for whatever reason that doesn't work out, if something does, if there is a coup in Tampa and Bowles is out, I'd be surprised by that at this point because their season's been over for a week. But I would think that now you're looking at, who are the fallback options, so that Robert Saleh would certainly qualify as a fallback option. So I would think it's Cohen, and then if for whatever reason something happens with Cohen, then it becomes Saleh.
Well, here's what we know, to your point. We know that they're going to bring back a minimum, I would say, of 3 candidates that they interviewed the first time through. We now know, if Jeremy Fowler's report is correct, that Robert Saleh, the former Jets coach, the former 49ers defensive coordinator, a one-time linebackers coach here under Gus Bradley, we know he's one of the 3. So to your point, we've got to believe Liam Cohen is one of the 3, one of the 3 or 4. I don't think there's any debating that Liam Cohen's going to be one of them. So to your point, if Liam Cohen's one of the ones they really are considering hiring as the next Jaguars football coach, and if Robert Saleh is one of the ones, according to the Jeremy Fowler report, that would make sense. And if all that's true, Hays, it sounds like the list is narrowing now. We've had a lot of ideas. And again, I would imagine 3 to 5 is the number you thought of people that will be brought back. Go through some of the names just one more time for people that have interviewed the first time. I'll go off the top of my head and then fill in the blanks. Todd Monken interviewed, Joe Brady interviewed, Patrick Graham interviewed, Aaron Glenn interviewed.
Spags.
Steve Spagnuolo interviewed, who they cannot bring back, but neither he nor Brady can come back yet, which is one reason why some of the others. And then, of course, Johnston and Cohen. That's most of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number was 10. The number was Brian Flores. And he could be a guy they bring back. So certainly we now know that Jeremy Fowler's reported that Robert Saleh's getting a second interview. We all know that Liam Cohen in all likelihood is getting a second interview. So then it comes down to what other 2 or 3 people. And if it's this week, I'm glad you said that, Spags and Joe Brady can't be in the group. So, and they're the only 2, right? There's nobody with Philadelphia or L.A.
Kellen Moore.
But
I think they did interview Kellen Moore.
So he would be one of the ones. So that's the third one that can't come back. So that's 3. So of the 10, Johnson's out.
I don't think they've formally interviewed Kingsbury. So Washington being in it doesn't.
Yeah. So we know that Johnson's out. He took a job. We know that Brady, Spags, and Kellen Moore cannot come this week. So that's down to 6 who possibly could come this week. It's already been reported that Robert Saleh is one of the ones that's coming this week. And again, I think we all can put the pieces together that Liam Cohen's one of the ones that are coming this week. So really, there's only 4 other possibilities: Aaron Glenn, Patrick Graham, Todd Monken, and whoever we missed. So that gives you an idea of kind of where they are. But that's good. That helps you narrow the idea of who the next coach might wind up being. So it'll be interesting to see. We did barely get to it, so apologies to all the Notre Dame and Ohio State fans. What are your expectations tonight?
I think
how
a
does it
fun
play
game. I think Ohio State will jump out to a strong start, and we'll all be like, uh-oh, here comes the rout. And then Notre Dame will dig deep like they have all year, and you'll look up at half and be like, Notre Dame still in this. And then Notre Dame will do something good in the first 5 minutes of the second half, and it'll be a great game. And then I think Ohio State pulls away and probably scores the final 14 points of the game to win by 10.
It's that game, isn't it? It's the I hold out hope that because of their toughness, because Riley Leonard is a very average football player, but he's a football player, man. That's why he's still playing. I don't think, whereas Will Howard will be on an NFL roster, I don't think Riley Leonard will. If he is, he's a camp arm that I doubt makes it to a 53. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's not that. But in terms of will to win, and it's an interesting game, man. I of all the players in sports now who are openly talking about their Christian faith and their spirituality, these are 2 teams that kind of lead the pack in that. So there's a bond between. I think it's a cool bond between these 2 teams. I think they both play the same way. They're both from the same part of the country where you have to be built a certain way. Ohio State does have that Midwestern physical thickness to them that Notre Dame and Michigan and Penn State always have, but they got that SEC speed. I think the difference is Ohio State has the Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, Midwestern physicality. They just look a certain way, like it's law. You got to wear black cleats, and you got it right. It's got to feel that way. Ohio State's got all that. Plus, Ohio State's the one team out of the region. Maybe USC's the other, but the one team out of the region that is regularly found SEC-like, Southern-like speed, which is the difference between them and everybody else.
Yeah, it's a good point. And special teams could be huge tonight. We saw Marcus Freeman be able to steal a possession in the Georgia win, with some pretty nifty coaching. And I would imagine whatever Marcus Freeman has from a special teams gimmick standpoint, he's using tonight. So, that's one to
If you
watch.
don't use it tonight, why? If you got it.
Why have it?
If you got it.
You got to save it for Miami week 1 next year.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, too. What about Marcus Freeman? Is he an NFL coach?
He could be.
He gets mentioned a lot.
Yeah, I think if he wanted to be, he certainly.
He's a good coach, man.
Yeah,
He's relatable. He's smart. His teams are tough. They're well coached. They're innovative. He's a good coach.
He is. I would think he'd stay at Notre Dame and be off and running with an incredible tenure there. But I'm sure he will get a lot of NFL interest in the years to come.
Al Golden coaching up that defense.
Dude, he's been awesome.
He's been really good. Got the funky I love the glasses.
He looks very different. He keeps the tie covered up.
Yeah,
I don't know if he still wears a tie, but he always has something over.
I thought the same thing. He doesn't have the tie. That's
Which
where
really
he went
pisses
wrong.
me off. But yeah, he's done great. Obviously, Freeman is a defensive-minded guy, but everybody that is one of the experts that follow college football have been just giving Al Golden nothing but praise this season. So yeah, I'm happy for him. Didn't work out in Miami, but he's always been known as just a great defensive mind.
Yeah. This guy's
He got screwed at Miami. He wasn't a great head coach, but he also didn't know. We didn't really tell him that there was going to be sanctions when he got there, and it was just the program was in such a bad spot when he was there.
I tell you, they've run through some coaches, man.
Hell yeah,
so have the Gators, so have everybody else that's struggling. So it's not like poor Miami's on their own on that. But think about it. They've run through some coaches.
Since Butch Davis, it's been. Yeah, probably close to 10 at this point.
So Larry Coker was the coach when they won the title.
Then Randy Shannon took over. Then Al Golden took over. And then Mark Richt was right after that.
Yes, I'd forgotten Randy Shannon. That's
and then
the one.
Manny.
Yeah, that's the one I forget about. I forgot, obviously, the bridge between – I knew there was a bridge between Coker and Richt. It was Randy Shannon.
And Al.
That's right. He was in there too. Randy Shannon's made his rounds around the state, by the way.
I think he's worked for every program.
I think he really has. I know he's worked for Florida FSU and Miami, but I think he's worked for USF and UCF. I think he has. And he knows the state.
He does.
My guy knows the state. So it'll be fun to see what winds up happening.
Anything stand out to you about Gators basketball the other day?
Yeah, I thought Missouri was that wake up call for them. Look, here's what they're a really good team that's got Final Four written all over them. But they're not a lottery team. They're not a bunch of lottery guys. Now they got big guys who can run and dunk, and they got guards who are good because they're veteran guys. But they've still got to have that blue collar chip they talk about. They've still what I took out of that game was Texas probably has 2 or 3 guys who are playing in the NBA, at least 2. I don't think Florida's got a guy that's ever going to start a game in the NBA. Could Condon make a team? He's pretty good. Could Condon make a team? Could Houck come out of nowhere? Could Clayton start in the G League, and make his way? But they don't have any of those guys. They don't have anybody I think will ever be drafted in the lottery or even the first round. Texas had 2 or 3 of them. So they're going to face teams with guys like that. But Florida was clearly the better team because they're deeper and tougher. And so they really do remind me of the 2014 team. Don't you think, though doesn't that feel that way?
I think they're more talented.
I do too.
Than the 14 team.
I do too.
But I think they're
they are more
they certainly have that moxie, that toughness, that experience level. But I do think their talent is pretty high.
I do too. And I agree with you. And it helps because they got both entities. They got the veteran guards who can shoot it and defend, and they got a lot of big guys, little big guys that can play. So it'll be fun to watch. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Ben Johnson looking for a home on the Gold Coast, I think, probably, maybe. Maybe in the suburbs. Naperville, maybe.
Beautiful time of year right now.
How about that? Yeah.
Right now it's a
Arlington
great
Heights.
time to go. Yeah, house hunting.
Arlington Heights, maybe. Where's he
Arlington
living?
Heights, beautiful.
Where's he
Yeah.
going to live? Buffalo Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me
Buffalo
dropping
Grove.
suburbs.
Yeah.
Huh? I'm impressing you right now.
First
Won't you
time I
admit
ever,
that?
that was my first apartment when I moved there, Buffalo Grove, Wheeling. Tommy McManus played high school football
Yes, he did. What'd you make of the Ben Johnson news today?
Not surprised. Obviously, I'm a little disappointed. There's a lot of reasons why that happened, and we'll explore that over the next couple of hours. But, Jacksonville now has to hit a home run. I mean, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Cohen? We'll go out to Tampa. J.P. Peterson, he's the one that told me 2 weeks ago that they could fire Todd Bowles to keep Liam Cohen. So I'm going to bring him on. He's coming up in 20 minutes or 25 minutes to, kind of gauge the temperature. Would we be shocked if all of a sudden we heard today or tonight that Todd Bowles is out of a job and they're going to go through the interview scenario and keep Liam Cohen? If that's the case, does that make it Robert Saleh? So there's really a lot of things to still dive into here for the Jags.
Yeah, and I would say Liam Cohen's the one guy, Rick, that the fan base could get itself excited about. If it's not him either, that doesn't mean it won't be a very good coaching candidate, but it won't be one that grabs the attention of the fans. Agree with that?
No, it will not. And, we're talking about a very young guy that's basically called plays at this level for 1 year. Now, it was a great year, top 5 in rushing and passing, but this guy was with Sean McVay a couple of years ago and went back and forth between that and Kentucky. So there's no guarantee if you get Liam Cohen that this guy's going to hit a home run, just like there's no guarantee that the Bears, by getting Ben Johnson, it's going to be a home run. These coordinators who become head coaches, they fail at around the same rate as first-round quarterbacks in the NFL draft. It's amazing. Just go through the last 10 years and look at new coaches and look at first-round drafted quarterbacks. Many more fail than actually succeed.
All coming up tonight, right?
All coming up.
All right, Rick Belugo's into the night. We do have more news, by the way. Both Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter reporting Liam Cohen, Patrick Graham, and Robert Saleh all get second interviews. Possibly more. I would have guessed maybe one or two more. But we know now Liam Cohen, Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, Robert Saleh, the former Jets coach, all will get second interviews this week in Jacksonville. Good chance one of those guys is the coach. You might see another guy or two with the second interview as well. That'll do it. Don't go anywhere. Rick Beluga's into the night. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.